Hello everyone. I believe many of you guys are loving this beautiful hydropolam character Candace. So in this video, I'll give a complete guide on how to build her as a DPS. This video will include a quick review on Candace's kit and her possible DPS team comp recommendations for two different playstyles. And for each playstyle, I'll give you a guide on how to choose her weapon, her artifact, the artifact substats priority, and for each playstyle, I'll also demonstrate the rotation and how much energy recharge you will need for each character. In the end, I'll also explain some particular mechanics, how they work, which will help your actual gameplay. Let's start with her kit. Candace is a hydropolam character who has surprisingly one of the highest charge attack multipliers among all polam characters in Genshin Impact. But this is balanced out by her low attack speed, which is pretty much a shame. Different from her auto, her skill and burst scale off of her HP instead of attack. So if you want to play a charge attack DPS Candace, HP will be almost useless for her. Her first talent is similar to Beidou, which will turn press to hold skill when it's on attack. Her second talent allows her to provide normal attack boost based on her HP value. There are multiple possible team comps for a charge attack Candace, but the strongest one is Candace International, with Candace, Benish, Shanling, and Kazuha. If you're F2P or low investment player, you can replace Kazuha by Sucrose or Jean. Now move on to her weapon. For charge attack DPS Candace, best is Discarded Sand. You can also use Staff of Homa or Primordial Jade Wind Spear or a Dragon's Bane at R5 only. If you have none of those, Deathmatch and Skyward Spine will also work, but the damage will decrease significantly. For her artifact, the best choices for now are either Heart of Depth or Nymph Stream. Both are very close. They could be either slightly better or slightly worse than the other, depending on how attack and damage boost is important in your team comp. So basically, more attack buff you can get from your teammate, then less important is Nymph set. For example, if Candace use weapons that provide less attack and Bennett use low base attack weapon, then in this case, Nymph Stream is slightly better than Heart of Depth, and contrarily, Heart of Depth is better. If you have neither HOD nor Nymph Stream set, you can take a look at this picture. It's a simulation that I ran through Python, which calculates the output charge attack vape damage on different artifact sets. So you can very well use any 2+2 pieces, and hydro damage 2-piece set will be highly recommended. And some of you might also ask if Gilded Dream is viable, but unfortunately in this result the answer is no, because Elemental Mastery is a substat that's not very valuable, which can be easily provided by your teammates. The main stats recommendations would be EM Sand, Hydro Damage Bonus Goblet, and Crit Circlet, crit rate or crit damage depending on which weapon you choose. But if you use Dragon's Bane or Gilded Dream set, use Attack Sand instead. And for Bennett, you would like to use any high base attack weapon such as Mist Splitter. And you can also use other weapons like Skyward Blade or Favonius Sword. But the main goal is that you have enough energy recharge on Bennett. So if you don't have enough ER, choose ER weapon first. And for the artifact, you can either use Instructor or Noblesse. And each one has a different rotation that I'll demonstrate later in the video. And for Kazuha's weapon, the best choice is Sifo's Moonlight. Since Candace is the only Hydra unit in this team, she will need a lot of ER. And if you want to maximize her output damage, you can use the Freedom Swarm. And if you don't have enough ER on Kazuha, you can use any other ER weapon. The only artifact recommended for Kazuha will be 4-piece Viridescent set. There's no doubt. You can use either ER Sand or EM Sand depending on your build. For the constellation on Kazuha, C0 is enough for this team. And C1 will only reduce ER requirements for Kazuha, but you will see later in the rotation that nowhere will use C1 Kazuha effect, but C2 will provide a huge damage boost on Candace. And for Xianling's weapon, I personally recommend Favonius Lance because the whole team is short in ER. So if you use the catch, it's okay, but you will need a huge amount of ER on the substats if you don't want to use ER Sand, which is pretty hard to achieve. And for the artifact, the 4-piece emblem set is the only recommendation. For Candace's artifact substats priority, I highly recommend you guys to look into this Google file that I made before. And it contains several different configurations, including different weapons and different constellations on Kazuha and different artifact sets on Bennett. Now let's move on to the rotation. This second rotation is used only if Candace damage is way more important than Xianling, because this rotation can maximize Candace's normal and charge attack instances. Now it's time for Candace elemental skill nuke. Here are 4 different team comps that you can use. Here, Amber need to be C4. I'll explain later in the video why. And if you have C2 cleat, you can also use her. For the team configuration, Shelly and Kazuha are same as in Candace International. And for Candace, her best weapon in this case will be Staff of Home, since her elemental skills scale only off of HP. And for her artifact, the main stat will be HP Sand, Hydra damage bonus Goblet, and crit Circlet. And for Mona, it'll be Instructor Set and Prototype Amber. When Mona is casting her burst, the 2 Baron Bunnies explode at the same time. One will cancel the Hydro application, and the second one will apply Pyro, which allows Mona to trigger the Instructor passive. That's why the C4 of Amber is a must. For those who use Scartasan, the following demonstration will help you understand better how its passive work. There were 2 passive effects. Both convert EM to attack, but the first one is constantly on, while the second one need to cast elemental skill to trigger it, and max 3 stacks. And each stack has 10 seconds of duration. But the thing that is not explained in the description is that this 10 seconds of duration can actually inherit it from one to another if the time between each elemental skill casting is less than 10 seconds. Another detail about the second passive is that the conversion from EM to attack will take the current EM value. Here, the 200 more EM provided by C2 Kazuha is taken into account and converted to attack. And same thing for Instructor passive. The 120 EM will also be used for the conversion from EM to attack. But there was an exception. This is Nahida's burst. We know that Nahida's burst will provide maximum 250 EM, but this is floating, which means it'll vary depending on Nahida's own EM value. This means the second passive use only fixed value EM buff. For Mona's C1 effect, in the description, it says when your own party member hits an opponent under Omen, it will trigger the following effect. But actually, what it really means is your on-field, on-party character hits an opponent under Omen effect. Here's the demonstration. Here after Mona's burst, I switch directly to Candace without dealing any further on-field damage. And her skill nuke is around 204k. Now with the same rotation, the only difference is before casting Candace's skill, there's a normal attack first. So this normal attack actually triggered Mona's C1 effect. Another way to trigger Mona's C1 effect is to keep Mona on field when her illusory bubble is broken. So this damage will count it as her on-field damage. So I hope that this guide could be useful for your DPS Candace build. If you have any other questions, you can either leave a comment or find me in Candace main Discord, which I'll put the link in the description. So hope you all enjoy your Genshin Impact game with our beautiful Our Village Guardian, and see you next time. Thanks for watching.